Yo, what's good, boys? I'm back again with another video. I know it's been a while since I posted, but I'm back better than ever and coming back with a banger for you guys. So today I'm going to show you how you can go from a $5,000 a month coach to a $30,000 a month coach in 30 days. That is going to be 6 times your revenue in 1 month without building a bigger audience. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so what does 6x actually mean? So that's you going from 5,000 to $30,000 per month. And that sounds like a 500% increase. But what it actually is just one extra sale per week. Because if you sign 6 clients at 5K, that gets you 30K a month pretty simply and pretty easily. And yeah, percentages make it feel impossible, but absolute numbers just make it feel like a regular Tuesday and a regular day in the life, basically. So, why is 30 days even possible? I'm sure you're wondering that right now because, our first glance, it seems kind of far fetched and impossible. But here's what it is: you can't build an audience in 30 days, you can't build a brand in 30 days. But what you can do is convert demand that already exists. If you had $5,000 a month, that demand exists because somebody chose you, which means there's a pool of people who considered you but just didn't buy. And that pool is basically the whole game. So, who is this for? This works if you have an offer that you've already sold at least once, some kind of results or case studies or testimonials you can point to in any kind of email list, DM history, or any past leads you've communicated with. And this won't work if you have zero sales so far, zero past conversions, and no delivery capacity, basically. So yeah, that's basically it. So the first thing you need to do is diagnose your shape. In business, you're going to have different shapes, and that's basically going to be, the type of clients you're bringing in, how much those clients are paying, and just how your business is structured overall. Because not every 5K a month is the same 5K a month. Because we're going to have shape A, which is going to be many cheap clients, shape B, which is going to be few mid-priced clients, and we're going to have shape C, which is going to be, inconsistent months. And most people skip this and they just copy whatever the last video or person told them, and that's why the advice doesn't work. The advice is often correct, but it's just applied to the wrong business shape. So shape A, many cheap clients. You're gonna have what, 5 to 10 people paying you $500 to $1,000. You're gonna be very busy because you're working with a bunch of lower ticket clients, which are the worst kind of clients to deal with actually. And you're also gonna get capped very easily. And here, your bottleneck really is just price, not demand, because you've already proven that people will say yes to you 8 times over, and that's just more sales proof than most people have at 20K a month, honestly. So your first move should be focusing on price and not volume. Then we have shape B, which is going to be few mid-priced clients, and that's going to be like what, 1 to 2 clients paying you 2.5 to 5K a month. Deliverability is, very comfortable because you're just working with 1 or 2 people. It's not that deep. And your main bottleneck is really just conversion volume because you're probably just posting content and waiting for the people to come to you. And content is a wonderful long-term asset, but it does little for you inside of 30 days. So your first move is to just focus on conversation volume, just speaking with more people and getting more people booked in, honestly. Then we're gonna have shape C, which is where a lot of people are. You might do 12K in a good month, 2K in a bad month. And the average month is what, 4, 5, 6K a month, basically. And 5K a month is just the average. But your bottleneck, if you're in shape C and having these inconsistent months, is having no repeatable input, because something you did 2 months ago made you $12,000 in a month, and you just didn't record what it was, so you can't repeat it to make $12,000 or more the next month. So your first move is really to just look at what you did in that $12,000 month, whether it was posting certain kind of content, if you're sending certain types of emails, or whether you're posting stories, reels, TikToks, or whatever, and just focus on that input and do it every day for 30 days. And that's going to help you get to that $30,000 a month goal, basically. So this is the 30-day map that you need to follow to actually make this happen. So the first thing is going to be repricing. you're gonna need to adjust the pricing and the packaging of your offer. Like I mentioned earlier, 6 clients at $5,000 a month. Not $5,000 a month, but 6 clients at 5,000 gets you to $30,000 a month. Because if you're selling, a cheap offer that's like what, $500, $1,000, you're gonna need to get 30 to 60 people in to actually make that goal of $30,000 per month happen. And that's not ideal. You're going to be working with way too many people. The delivery is going to be poor. They're not going to be getting the best results. So yeah, you're going to need to reprice. And as you increase the price, the more people you have to get in. So your job actually becomes easier. The next step is the graveyard. So you're going to have to work off hours with outreach. And we're going to dive into this earlier. The next thing is going to be conversations. So you're going to want to increase your call and meeting volume. And the last step is just going to plug any leaks that you have and just fix conversions and funnel issues. But we're going to dive into each one of these topics properly after this, because each week builds on the last and the order matters. So what you need to do is price first, get the pipeline going and get the leads coming in, then volume, then conversation. If you skip a step, the whole thing stalls and you're not going to do things correctly. So here it is, week one, reprice. Price is the only lever that you are going to change today. Scale takes months, audience takes years, same client, same delivery, but a different number. If you're shape A, 8 clients at 1,000, you don't need 8 more clients. You just need to sell the same transformation to 6 people at 5,000 and cut your client load in half while doing 6x your revenue, basically. That's all you need to do. And a lot of people have the objection, but nobody will pay that. They're not comparing your price to your value, they're comparing it to their bank balance, unless you show them what the problem costs. Because your job is to move what they're comparing you against, 5,000 versus 10,000 a month forever. But they will not do that math on their own, so you have to make them do it out loud before you just say a number. And how do you actually make them say the number? On every call, before you price, you need to say, hey, how much realistically would you spend on this program? And then stay quiet. And when someone hears themselves say, so I'd spend 5K on this, your price has already been justified and you don't have to argue it. And that single change is worth more than any funnel you will ever build. Week two is the graveyard. You need to speak to everyone who you've already spoken to who didn't buy. Any past call that ended in, not right now, I need to think about it, I'm going to come back when I have money and whatnot. People who ghosted you mid-conversation, old low-ticket buyers, and people who engage but never DM you, essentially. And this is basically going to be the single highest converting list that you own, and it costs nothing to work. And this is how you're going to reach out without begging. Don't say like, hey, just checking in, still interested, or I have a couple spots opening up in my mentorship, would you like to join? You mentioned that you're gonna come back and join. Do you still want to join? Don't say all that stuff, because it just sounds like you're begging for them and you need their money to come in. But what you should do is reference their specific situation. So you can say like, hey man, if you're a trader, you can say, hey man, I noticed you're struggling with your trading psychology previously and you're revenge trading. Is that still an issue you're having right now? Or are you working on fixing it, or is it fixed at all? Stuff like that. And you need to, share something genuinely new with them. You can, go up to them and say, hey, there's some new trading indicator I've been using and it's been effective for me. Or say like, hey, I have some Claude bot that you can use for your e-com store, to improve the copy for better conversions. Or you can just ask them a real question like, hey, how are things going with trading, how are things going with e-com, how are things going with the agency, something like that. But what you don't want to do is pitch in the first message and come off as needy or as if you're begging. So you can run 20 of these a day for a week, and that's going to be 140 conversations restarted from people who already know who you are. And yeah, it's pretty simple. This is the graveyard. 140 conversations, for absolutely free. You're just going into your DMs or emails or whatever and finding people that have previously contacted you, and that's it. Then week three, which is going to be the conversation number. So you don't control sales, you don't control the close rate, and you don't control conversation started. And the goal for the month is not $30,000. The goal is a daily number that you either hit or don't hit. And you know by 6 p.m. which one it was. So let's get into that. So how I like to do this is to work backwards. So the revenue goal is going to be 6 clients a month at around $5,000 a month, which gets you $30,000. So if you close 1 in 4 calls, you need 24 calls a month to hit that goal. And if we go to conversations, probably 1 in 3 conversations book a call. So that's what, 72 conversations a month. So over a 30-day period, you need to have 1 to 3 conversations a day to get those 72 conversations per month to get the 24 calls booked in. And if we close 1 out of every 4 of those calls, which is going to be 6 clients, and we get $5,000 from each of those clients, we get to $30,000 a month. You see how we've taken such a big goal, we've worked backwards, and we've broken it down into simple numbers that you can digest and easily achieve. 2 to 3 conversations a day. That's the whole thing. And that's what 6 times your revenue actually looks like. It's not glamorous. It won't even require you to get a single new follower. You just need to reach out to old people that are already within your pipeline. And then week 4 is pretty simple, which is just plugging the leaks. And I've just broken down the 3 leaks that are probably costing you sales that you've already earned. And the first one is no-shows, so booked calls that never happen. We all hate these in the info industry. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you can relate to this. The next thing is something people struggle with very easily, which is pitching too early. And yeah, that's basically self-explanatory. Before you diagnose anything, before you've dived into their pain points or anything. And then the bottleneck of bottlenecks, the sales resistance of sales resistance, the objection of objections, the let me think about it, I need to speak with my wife, I need to go over my finances, I'm gonna come back and DM you next week. We all know this objection, and most people don't know how to handle it. So League One obviously is no shows. So the minimum no show rate is like what, 30%, which is normal and fixable. The maximum no show rate should be around like 50%, which is still normal and still fixable. So the fix to this mainly is you can just confirm by a voice note whether they're going to show up to the call or not. Ask them to reply to confirm as well, and setting up a same day reminder with Calendly or whatever software you're using, because fixing no shows alone can add 2 clients to your month without a single extra lead. And some of the best ways to do this is to create like a WhatsApp or an iMessage group chat with the closer, the setter, and the lead themselves. And in that group chat, you're going to have a sequence which you're going to follow, so you can send them some like pre-call nurturing stuff, just some stuff to get them familiar with the program and whatnot. And yeah, have Calendly reminders, which is going to be emails and SMS set up to remind them for your calls regularly. You can do one for like 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, 6 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then another one for the call. It really depends on your offer, but some offers really do need rigorous reminders to make sure that the leads show up. So League 2 is just pitching too early. And you can see here the block by James. That's what's going to happen to you if you pitch too early. You're not going to get your sale. You're not going to get that bucket. But yeah. And here's the issue with pitching too early, because the pitch is not the persuasion. The diagnosis is. You need to spend 70% of the call understanding and 30% of it presenting. I always hear people tell me this: you need to be interested, not interesting, on a sales call. You want to probe people to speak as much as possible. Some of the best sales calls I had were sales calls where I said little to nothing, because I just ask a lead a question and they just ramble on answering the question and just explaining the situation to me for 5 minutes. because I was being interested and not interesting. Because if you diagnose properly, every pitch takes 90 seconds and they've already decided. Like I mentioned, some of the best sales calls I've taken, I barely spoke. I just asked them some questions, they answered it, and then I just explained what the program is. And while I'm explaining what the program is, I am attacking their pain points. If they're telling me they're struggling with their trading psychology, I'm gonna say like, hey, we have a psychologist in the program that is going to help you master your trading psychology or something like that, and attack those pain points and solve those problems for them, so that when I pitch them, they see the product, they see the mentorship as the obvious solution to all the problems they're having, and they're selling themselves. I don't need to sell them. I just tell them what the program is, and that's it. They've already decided that they want it, and they just buy it. That's it. And then league two is the objection of objections, the let me think about it. Almost means an unspoken objection. It's usually just money, spouse, or belief it'll work for them. So what you need to do is ask which one on call. You can say kindly like, is it money? Is it timing? Or you're not sure it'll work for your situation? Because a real objection is solvable. Let me think about it. Is it? Like I mentioned here, usually it'll be like a money issue, timing, or like I need to speak with my wife, I need to speak with my husband, something like that. But one question I like to ask a lot is like, do you need to think about the price or do you need to think about the program? Because they're either going to tell you one of the two, and then from there you can go in and actually handle the objection. Because if it's, hey, do you need to think about the price? And they say, yeah, it's the price. They can say like, hey, $5,000 might be a bit too much for me right now, but I do like the program and I do think it'll get me results. You can say, hey, cool, I see that the price is a program. So what you can basically do is give them a payment plan or something like that, and you can get the sale through the door. Because when someone's made the first payment, even if it's a deposit, most likely you're going to go through and they're going to finish the payment anyway. And yeah, that's just how it is. And then league four is where this breaks. So 6 new leads equals 6 new fulfillment loads. That's going to be 30K cash collected, which does not mean 30K recurring. Because month 2 is where people crash and everything goes down. So before week 3, you need to decide how you're delivering. Group calls instead of individual calls, a structured onboarding process instead of improvising, and also be honest between 30,000 collected and 30,000 recurring. Because with this is going to be 30,000 collected, and now you need to worry about the next month and bringing in another 6 new people basically. So basically, this is what we've gone over: the 4 levels. Price, that changes today. Graveyard, that's a free pipeline that you already have. Conversations, which is the only input that you fully control. And then the leaks, which is going to be, fixing sales that you've already earned. So none of these require an audience. None of it requires ads. None of it requires you to actually be better at your craft than you are right now. And that's all you need to do to go from that 5K to 30K a month. So next steps, before you leave and click off this video, what you can do is book a call and follow me with the links below. On that call, we can help you find your shape. We'll rebuild your price and your offer around it. And yeah, this is not for you if you haven't sold anything yet. Of course, I can still help you out and give you some pointers and things, but do not book the call if you haven't sold anything yet, unless you do have a sizable audience. Then we can do something. But the reason why most coaches stay at $5,000 a month isn't that $30,000 is hard. It's that nobody ever showed them that it was just 6 conversations that it takes to get to $30,000 a month. So yeah, make sure if this video is applicable to you and you'd like to go from a $5,000 a month coach to a $30,000 a month coach, you book in that call below. And yeah, I'll speak to you. You can also follow me on IG and just send me a DM. If you need help with anything, I can help you out with that.